Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So in this video I am going to discuss about spring bean scopes. So what is the scope of spring bean? So there are basically four spring bean scopes, that is singleton scope, prototype scope, request and session scope. So in this video we are going to discuss about the singleton and prototype scope. Okay. So you can see in the from this the singleton scope is the default scope, and like the beans with the singleton scope are eagerly initialized. Okay, I am going to explain what that means. Just a second. Yeah. So I have this small application. So where I have the controller, I have this employee controller. So in that I have the uh, employee controller constructor, and I am injecting user over here, and after that I have the post construct which will print the employee controller hash code and the user hash code, and one small get API I have in this employee controller. And in the user controller I have the like I have auto the user, the constructor I have, and the post construct. Okay. So and then I have the entity class, that is the employee and the user. So employee class, I have auto-void user, and the same thing, it has the constructor and it has the post construct method. So user also, it has the constructor and post construct method. You can see by default I have not defined the scope. Like I have defined only the component. Okay, in the user controller I have given only the authority test controller. That means the default scope of the Spring Beans are singleton scope. Okay, so that means when I start the application only these beans will be created eagerly. Okay, so I don't need to call any API or call any other APIs in order to get these beans initially. So for example, what I'll do means you can see since the scope is singleton, I am going to run this application. See, what happen is we have the component scan, right? It is going to scan from employee controller, and after that, let me see. You can see the output over here. Employee control initialized. First, it will come to the employee controller and it will print the constructor over here. That is employee controller initialized. Okay. And while creating this object, it saw that there is a dependency that is bean injection is happening over here. So that is the field injection. So it will saw the user bean getting injected, and it will go to the user, and it will print the it will create the user bean. Okay. So that is user initialized, and after that post construct user hash code. That is what it is printed here, the user initialized, after that user hash code. Okay, then after creating this bin it will check whether there is any dependency for this user class. There is no dependency, so it will come back to the employee controller, and after that in the post construct it will print the employee controller hash code and the user hash code. You can see this is the employee controller hash code and user hash code, and you can see the user hash code is last number is 532. The same user bean has been injected over here. The you can see the hash code 532. That means the same bean is used everywhere. Okay, then after that it will go to the user controller, it will initialize the user controller, and it's okay, the user is getting injected to this user controller, and it will go to the IOC container and check if there is any user being present in the IOC container. Yes, the user being is present in the IOC container because we have created in the last class. So it will use the same user bin, and it will execute this post construct. You can see user controller, this is the hash code, and user hash code is last number is 532. So here also 532 is there, here also 532 is there. That means the same user bean is getting injected over here, and at last the employee bean is getting initialized, and after that we are printing the employee hash code, and it is also getting printed here. Since we are injecting user over here, the same user will get injected. Like since I am not using it, if I print the same, the user hash code 532 will go only get printed here. So this is the default scope, that is a singleton scope. That means all the beans, like how many times you call that bean, only the same bean will be given to you. That means the same object reference will be given to you. That is only one bean object will be created. Okay, and remember this point, all these singleton beans, singleton beans is the default scope, and all the singleton beans are eagerly instantiated. Eager instantiation means at the application startup only, see, started the application and these beans will be created. Okay, so and now let's go to the prototype scope. Prototype scope, what I'll do means I'll go to the employee controller and I'll define the scope annotation over here. I'll give at the rate scope, and the scope will be prototype. Okay, this is the prototype, and also user controller also. I'll give the prototype and employee also. I'll give the scope as prototype. See here, all the bins are of type prototype. Okay, so that means at the application startup, none of the bins should be created. We are getting that this one, right? Employee user initial ID. When I start the application now, then no bin should be created. So I'll go here and I'll start the application. Let's see. Because the prototype scope is lazily instantiated. That means the bean won't be created unless we ask for it. Okay. So that is the lazy instantiation. So you can see nothing is printed. The Tomcat started on port 8080 and nothing is printed over here. Okay. Then what I'll do means I'll go to this postman, because in the employee controller I have an endpoint. I have, what is the endpoint? I have employee, then users. Okay, fetch user API. So what I'll do means I'll just hit this endpoint. See, I got the output. Now I can see when I hit the endpoint, similarly, the employee controller is initialized. Then what is the dependency for this employee controller? The user bin, right? The user will be initialized, and the user hash code is getting printed. And after that, it will go to the post construct and it will print the employee controller hash code as well as the user hash code. You can see the same user object 6565 is getting injected over here. Okay. Now what I'll do means I'll give the request again. Okay, I'll execute the endpoint again. See, you can see after executing the endpoint again, the same thing, controller will be initialized, user is also initialized. You can see in the first case the user hash code is, the last three numbers is 365. Now in the second case the user hash code is 994. That means every time you hit the request, a new user object will be created. Okay, new user bean will be created. You can see, and after that it will go to the employee controller and it will print the API response. Uh, the main thing you need to observe over here is, since the user scope is prototype, so every time a new user bean will be created, because here the hash code is different and here the hash code is different. And yeah, I think this is all about the prototype scope. So let's see. So with respect to singleton and prototype scope, just remember singleton is the default scope and they are eagerly instantiated, and prototype is another scope. Here for every time a new object will be created and it is lazily initialized. Okay, and you can see this employee controller also, since it is also of prototype, this hash code is different. The last number is 089, here the hash code is 783. That means the different new bean will be created every time you ask for it. Okay, that is the prototype scope. If you have any doubts, please write it in the comment section, and thank you so much for watching.